everyone, and welcome back to the Chill English channel. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Jake. Today, we are going to talk about something very important that we all use every day: money.
That's right. Money is everywhere in our lives. We use it to buy food, clothes, tickets for travel, and even services, like going to the doctor or paying for a haircut.
Exactly. So, let's start with the basics. What is money? Money is something people use to buy things or services. Without money, it's hard to get what you need or want.
Money comes in different forms. The most common is cash. Cash is physical money, meaning you can touch it. There are bills, which are the paper notes, and coins, which are the small metal pieces.
Right. For example, if I have a $5 bill in my pocket, that is cash. If I have 3 quarters, a dime, and a nickel, that is also cash. Even though coins are smaller than bills, there's still money you can use.
In the United States, people often say bucks instead of dollars. For example, instead of saying $5, you can say $5.
That's very common in daily conversation. So if someone says, "It cost me $20, they mean $20.
Now, if you need more cash, you can't just find it on the street. You usually go to an ATM.
ATM stands for Automated Teller Machine. It's a machine that lets you withdraw money, which means take money out of your bank account.
And you can also deposit money into your bank account using the ATM. That means putting your cash safely into your account.
So ATMs are very helpful. You can get cash quickly, check your balance, or even deposit money without going inside the bank.
Speaking of banks, what is a bank? A bank is a safe place where people can keep their money. You can save your money there, borrow money, or transfer it to other people.
And to use a bank, you usually need a bank account. There are 2 main types: a checking account for everyday spending and a savings account to keep money safe for the future.
When you open a bank account, you usually get a debit card. This card lets you pay in stores, online, and also withdraw cash from an ATM.
Don't confuse a debit card with a credit card. A credit card lets you spend money that you don't have yet. Later, you need to pay it back, usually with interest, which is extra money added by the bank.
Yes, using a credit card carefully is very important to avoid debt.
Let's review what we've learned so far. Money is used to buy things or services. Cash includes bills and coins. Bucks is slang for dollars. ATMs let you withdraw or deposit money. Banks keep your money safe in accounts. Debit cards use your money, and credit cards borrow money.
Perfect. In the next part, we'll talk about spending money, different ways to pay, and some important words and phrases that English speakers use.
We'll also discuss receipts, taxes, and some fun expressions about money.
So stay with us and get ready for part 2, where we continue learning about money in English.
Welcome back, everyone. In the last part, we talked about the basics of money: cash, banks, ATMs, debit cards, and credit cards.
That's right. Now let's move on to something we all do with money: spend it. After all, money is useful only when you use it to pay for things.
Good point. So, how do we talk about spending money in English? Let's start with the word to pay. When you buy something, you pay for it. For example, I paid $10 for lunch.
Exactly. And when you pay, there are different ways to do it. The most common are cash, debit card, credit card, or check.
Checks are not as common today, but they still exist. Most people prefer cash or cards. And recently, more and more people are paying with their phones using apps or Apple Pay.
True, technology is changing the way we pay, but it's still important to know the traditional forms. For example, if you go to a small shop, they might accept only cash.
Let's give some examples. If I buy ice cream, I might hand the cashier a $5 bill that's paying with cash. If I use my debit card, I swipe or tap my card. If I use my credit card, it's the same action, but the money comes later.
And if you pay by check, you write the amount on paper, sign your name, and the bank moves the money. Slow, but sometimes useful.
Now let's talk about something you almost always receive after paying, a receipt.
A receipt is a small piece of paper that shows what you bought and how much you paid. In some stores, they might send a digital receipt to your email.
Right. And receipts are very important, especially if you want to return or exchange something. Without a receipt, many shops won't let you bring an item back.
Another important word when talking about shopping is tax. In many countries, when you buy something, the price on the tag is not the final price. You also need to pay sales tax.
Yes. For example, in the US, if something costs $4.50, the total might be $5 after tax. Different states have different tax rates, so the final price can change.
Taxes can be confusing for visitors because the price on the shelf and the amount you actually pay are not the same. In some countries, like Canada or Japan, it's similar. But in many places in Europe, tax is already included in the price.
That's good to know when you travel. Always ask if the price includes tax so you don't get surprised at the counter.
Speaking of prices, let's introduce some casual phrases. If something costs a lot, you can say, "It's expensive," or "It's pricey." On the other hand, if something is cheap, you can say, "It's a bargain," or "It's a good deal."
Exactly. And there's also the word affordable. If something is affordable, it means the price is not too high and most people can pay for it.
And if you think something costs too much, you might say, "That's a ripoff." That means the price is unfairly high.
Yes, I once bought a sandwich for $10 at the airport. I thought, wow, what a ripoff.
Airports are always expensive, but good example. Okay, let's do a short practice. Imagine you're at a cafe. You order a coffee for $3.50. If you give the cashier a $5 bill, how much change should you get back?
Easy. You should get $1.50 in change. That could be a dollar bill and 2 quarters.
Perfect. This is very practical English for daily life.
Let's review what we covered in this part. To pay means to give money for something. You can pay with cash, debit card, credit card, phone, or check. After paying, you often get a receipt. Sales tax adds extra cost to many purchases. Useful words: expensive, cheap, affordable, bargain, ripoff.
Excellent summary. In the next part, we'll explore different currencies around the world, learn slang words like broke and rich, and talk about saving versus spending.
Yes, and we'll also discuss how people talk about money in casual conversation. That'll be fun.
So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the final part of our money conversation. Welcome back, listeners. We've already talked about how money works and how to spend it. Now, let's move to our final part, different currencies, saving, and slang about money.
Yes. First, let's start with currencies. The most common currency people know is the US dollar, written with the symbol $. But of course, there are many others.
Exactly. In Europe, many countries use the euro, symbol euro sign. In the UK, the currency is the British pound, symbol pound sign. Japan uses the yen, symbol yen sign. And in China, the currency is the yuan or renminbi.
Nice. And when you travel, you often need to exchange money. For example, if you go from the US to Europe, you exchange dollars for euros. This happens at a currency exchange office or at a bank.
Right. The rate at which you change one currency into another is called the exchange rate. If $1 equals zero point 0.9 euros, that's the exchange rate. It changes all the time.
Now let's talk about saving money. One common phrase is to save for a rainy day. That means keeping money for emergencies.
Another phrase is to put money aside. For example, I put money aside every month for travel. It simply means you save regularly.
And when you keep your money in a bank account, it might earn interest. That means the bank pays you a little bit for keeping money there.
Of course, many people also spend money quickly. If you spend more than you should, you might say, I need to cut back on spending. That means you must spend less.
Or you might hear the phrase, live within your means. That means don't spend more than the money you earn. If you make $2,000 a month, don't spend $3,000.
Great advice. Now, let's make it fun. People use lots of slang words when talking about money. For example, in American English, people sometimes call money bucks. Instead of saying $10, you can say 10 bucks.
Yes, and in British English, people sometimes say quid instead of pounds. For example, it costs 20 quid means 20 pounds.
There's also cash as a casual word for money. Someone might say, do you have any cash on you?
And if you don't have money, you can say, I'm broke. That means you have no money at all.
On the other hand, if someone has a lot of money, you can say, he's rich, or even she's loaded. That's slang for very rich.
Exactly. And sometimes people say money doesn't grow on trees. This is a common expression meaning money is not easy to get, so don't waste it.
Another funny one is to burn a hole in your pocket. That means when you get money, you spend it very quickly because you can't wait.
I know that feeling. I once got paid on Friday and spent most of it by Sunday. My money was burning a hole in my pocket.
We've all been there. Okay, let's review some key points. Different countries use different currencies, like dollars, euros, pounds, yen. To exchange money, you need to know the exchange rate. To save money, you can say, save for a rainy day, or put money aside. To control your spending, use phrases like cut back or live within your means. Slang words, bucks, quid, cash, broke, rich, loaded. Common idioms, money doesn't grow on trees, burn a hole in your pocket.
Perfect summary. These words and phrases will help our listeners talk about money in a more natural way.
Exactly. And remember, learning money vocabulary is not only about shopping. It's about everyday conversations, travel, and even talking about your goals and dreams.
Right. Whether you're saving for a trip, planning a big purchase, or just buying coffee, these words will make you sound more fluent.
Well, that's the end of our 3-part episode on money. We hope you enjoyed learning with us.
And we hope you feel more confident using English words about money in real life.
Thanks for joining us today.
And don't forget, practice every day. The more you use these words, the more natural they'll feel.
See you next time.